Hello, everyone. Very happy to have this first set of book club live today, and it's our first episodes together. We've been preparing for it. We're ready to go, ready to share our energy and the vibes on way, ladies. So it is the book club that we're launching, and by saying we're saying Story of Books with Selena Christmas and Zarina Holmes and Nadia Birka of the Future of Skills. Very happy to be doing this today with you guys and very happy to introduce us to it. So, without further ado, let's do a little bit of an intro roundup, shall we, ladies?
So I'm Zarina Holmes and
I'm Selena Christmas.
and we are Story of Books. So we actually focusing on storytelling and bookmaking within pop and material culture. I'm Zarina Holmes. I'm a designer, photographer, and also an educator. And I've been working in journalism and publishing for over 15 years.
I'm Selena Christmas and I'm an author and an anthropologist.
Thank you very much. And over to me, yes, I've got another banner for me as well. So I'm the founder of the Future of Skills, co-founder of Step Digital Agency, and we're the HC Best Podcast in Science and Technology according to UK IPA Awards. So very happy to be here to talk today about something that I think resonated with both of our parties, isn't it? When we've started to approach the topic of a book club per se. And here, what we've got as a key theme is how to read books today. Very grateful, by the way, for the artwork. Zarina has been doing amazing artwork over the years, and now this one for our book club. So thank you for doing this. And then the topic that then goes along with this, as part of it, is what happens if we stop reading, isn't it? Because they're interconnected. How we read the books, how and what happens if we stop reading the books, it's all in there. So I'd be very keen to get our thoughts over it. Please, ladies, do let me know how you feel about it.
All right. Okay. So basically, this topic happens because we were discussing about the book club, and I went to a library, and then I tried to borrow some books and then read books, and I found it myself as an experience. It's so difficult to concentrate and focus on reading books, isn't it, Selena?
Yeah, that's very
And
true.
I'm like, what's happened to me? It used to be a lot easier, and I kept the books for over 2 weeks and couldn't finish it. And suddenly, I have this realization that it's not that easy to finish a book today. And that got me researching on the internet because we're researching our topic. And I came across a UNESCO statistic saying that, 49% of teenagers are losing their comprehension skill while reading. And I thought that this is something that we should discuss.
Absolutely, can't resonate more. Selena, what do you think from your perspective? Is it something that you've observed that worries you a little bit more so?
Oh, sorry. Well, basically, excuse me. Basically,
problem.
what I observe is that we live in a very, very distracted world. Because at the moment, I mean, when I do my work as an author, I'm very focused. I write, and then I expect people that buy my books to actually be able to comprehend my books. But then again, I also work with PR and communications, whereby we actually churn really fast-paced messages, and people rely on AI for prompting and whatnot, but it's all done in a very distracted manner, and you only actually have to read a copy or whatever split second before you sign off. A very dangerous precedent, and I've never seen it like that before 10 years ago. So yeah, so basically what we are looking at is we are, as a generation of humans, losing our skills to read and comprehend books or long form. So and we noticed that there's a massive difference between today and 10 years ago, especially in the age of AI and this wealth of information. I just realized that having all this information available to us does not mean that our literacy or comprehension skill is increasing.
Agreed. At the moment, what happens, as you've rightly mentioned, we have at our disposal big data, isn't it? Access to everything and anything that we wanted ever have access to. But the access doesn't necessarily come with the attachment of comprehension alongside, because if comprehension would be necessarily as an element that would go along with it, would be a lot more of having a 360 view of it. But what happens as a side effect of not having that comprehension, not having that understanding of how the message lands with us, drifts us into a much more of a dangerous space, whereby, given the fact that the attention span is so low, people are now quoting from 5 to 6 seconds, we now drop to 3 seconds, 3 to 4. And if you think in statistics mode, it is a lot. It is genuinely a lot. And now the actual problem that we're seeing, and this is this, we're losing our skills to read and comprehend books because the adult skills in literacy and numeracy are declining, are stagnating. And there's a good reason to that. I suppose a good reason to that is not being able to welcome the stream of information that basically envelops us from around the world, from everywhere. So now we have a plethora of symptoms that we are exposing ourselves to. And when I'm saying symptoms, the one that absolutely comes to mind is FOMO, is when we're fearing of losing out to something, isn't it? We're fearing that some elements we might not be able to grasp, be it the same AI. I've recently, just yesterday, watched a very short reel from a lady saying, oh, Claude enables me now to do this, enables me now to grasp this skills and that and that. And the level of anxiety grows significantly higher because they feel that they need to learn so many skills just to stay competitive, just to stay relevant in today's day and age. However, as we within our real know, and we've been in the business of corporate for so long, we've been in the business of creative for so long, we know that the encompassing of new skills doesn't come overnight, does it? However brilliant the AI assistant could be out there. So AI element is there, but it's also that element of grasping the information. But if you don't know how to do that, then the bewilderment comes and discombobulation comes alongside, doesn't it?
Discombobulation. Yeah. I mean, you have a good point there, about anxiety. I mean, how do we compete with the anxiety of catching up with technology? I love technology. I'm a designer. I enjoy technology and the opportunities that come with it. But at the same time, I feel that the technology, we are not built to move so fast. Our brain is not built to catch up so fast in some areas. So we still need, contemplative skills that comes with reading.
I think to follow up from your point, Nadia, is the contrary nature of what you mentioned just now. The adult skills are falling according to the OECD report in 2024, which is quite scary because the reason why we actually need to have good reading skills, because reading skills mean adult can be numerate, and reading skills mean that adult can have this thing called adaptive problem solving. And it's falling. This is among the first world OECD countries, the global north. Now that's a 2024 report. We can conflate that with a UNESCO report of the same year, 2024. This one is not about adults, it's about teenagers between the age of 12 and 15 years of age. Globally, 49% are losing their ability to comprehend. Reading with comprehension. Can you imagine, OECD, UNESCO releasing the same report in the same year? We compare adults and teenagers and global north and global south, and we have a problem.
We're looking at something interesting.
Can't resonate more. I personally believe that, what you've mentioned is quite solid, Selina. You've said that both the adults and teenagers are exhibiting similar traits, similar behaviors. And there's reason to that, because when we're all exposed to the same type of technology, to the same type of traits, our reaction to it, however literate or illiterate in this sense we are at any given stage of our development, it is still affecting our ability to digest the information that we're open to, isn't it? And, and
Yes.
then the literacy comes into place, because we have a very interesting stats about literacy here, saying that among least educated adults, only 1 in 5 are actually able to understand simple texts or solve basic arithmetic, which is very, very worrying, because yes, they might be less literate than the others, but the fact that the information not only doesn't land, it is actually just passing by without having a proper impact into their development, their comprehension. And then what do we getting as a result of this all? We're getting a generation that is not only able to ingest the information, but they're not able to react on the back of that information either. So they're literally just exposed to a plethora of data without the ability to make themselves relevant to this environment.
Yeah. And so this is where we are now. I mean, we can see the phenomenon around the world where people buy into conspiracy theories and buy into fake news so easily. And no wonder, because they are losing the comprehension skill, and then the ability to analyze and be critical. I think I have to point out something there, because you and I, Nadia, we've done a lot of digital media campaigns, and we use various channels. And I have to say, I mean, like, my main platform when I was doing CRM was email. And this is what I found about email. With the email, I always, I told people, people don't read emails, they scan emails. And now that we're talking about it, I realize, oh my God, I'm actually responsible for nurturing or this kind of reading behavior in people, where they don't read, they don't comprehend, they just scan information. So, how much information, how much data can they digest if that's their reading habit?
Absolutely. And with that, this is exactly why I am such a fan as a parent as well, to infuse children with the type of skills that would not only allow them to just take in the information, digest it, hopefully, but also react on the back of that. So, the mention that you just said earlier, a few minutes back, about the critical thinking, both of you have alluded to it. I think this is essential, because if there is this element of critical thinking at play, children, but also adults, and, we are all able to then react on the back of that and make a sensible comment, make a sensible behavioral trait as well on the back of that. However, if that isn't in play, then we're not even participants to a given dialogue or a given, behavioral environment, right?
Yeah. And for us, story of books, because we are deeply rooted in the traditional material culture, we came to this realization that before we could write, we must be able to read. So if people can't read properly, how are we going to produce books in the future?
Exactly. But let us know a little bit about the story of books story. So the story behind the story of books, how has it started? Obviously, Selena is now an author, published author. So, let us know the background.
So basically, we started out this thing at a London Design Festival, because I was doing a digital anthropology with my course mates. And then one person said that, for our show, anthropology show, why don't we do this a seminar in conjunction with London Design Festival? And the title is Whatever's to Become a Books. And that's where we actually invited people from Oxford International Publishing Centre. We invited British Library, we invited Samsung, Blurb, right? And they all talked about, and this was about 2011, or 2012. And they said that, our reading pattern is going to change, because the format of the book is now become ebook, and then tablet, and then what? So that's how we started out. And actually started as a hashtag, to the hashtag storybooks. And then it became a website. And many, many moons later, we're still around, and we're still reporting from this side of the world.
So our experience, Selena is an anthropologist and I'm a designer. Our experience with story of books took us to London, Japan, Malaysia, Southeast Asia, just to observe bookmaking culture. So that has been very interesting.
And obviously now you're connecting from Malaysia, so it is this level of cross bonding, isn't it, that we're now nurturing through years and years of knowing each other, actually. So we kind of, nurtured this relationship to be able to have conversation on the back of joint interests, because reading books, as you've rightly mentioned, Zarina and Selena, is the type of element that sits at the foundation before you would start writing and giving back something of your own, becoming a reader and understanding, the traits of other scribers, as Elif Shafak would probably put it out there, because she considers herself a scriber, right? So it is definitely the foundation of becoming a good writer yourself. Now, with what you have mentioned earlier, Selena, with regards to the books changing their framework and becoming a different format in time, is such a valid point. I was also very happy to find out in the news, in the BBC today, but also news that has been then taken over by the Times, the Business Times, where they've mentioned that Christopher Nolan, who we all know for his amazing Avatar that he's brought to the world, has just said that because of how Generation Z are consuming current technology outputs, they're actually in a position to dislike it vehemently based on what is it doing to their behaviors, what is it doing to their attention, because it basically is in a position of extracting their attention from them and have it lurk in the realms of social media and the realms of other websites out there that they just seem to be constantly exposed to, and therefore they're just not able to dedicate any time to their reading, isn't it? Not any time to their other developmental traits, which means that because of that attention span being taken elsewhere, the energy goes with it too. So you're not having enough drive to focus on your development as a result of that. So that's most recent news. I'm going to also link it up to the current conversation that we're having, but it is coming on the back of what, Selena, you've just mentioned, that the format might be changing, but if there is a mindful behavior out there and people are conscientious of the fact that how they're developing their traits is affecting them in the long run, then you see there's a good awareness out there, isn't it?
Yes, that's very true. And it's quite concerning because we're now in Asia where a lot of information is consumed online, partly because of accessibility. It's cheaper to consume social media than books, and also people rely on WhatsApp. I mean, WhatsApp is a tertiary, secondary communication for work in the West, in the global North. But here, it's as important as an email. And then again, like I said to you, if you scan in an email in WhatsApp, I mean, it's like a briefer than scanning. You don't even digest the information. You just react.
On the other hand, though, from my observation, I feel hopeful watching the younger generation, especially this Gen Z, because at the moment, making zines and making simple books with your hands, it's very, very popular in Southeast Asia. They love it. There's zines workshop every other week. It's incredible. I haven't seen it since my time, and I think it's a reaction against the launch of technology, and also they want to reclaim that contemplative space again. And I feel positive about this actually.
Yeah, in a way, sorry, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, in a way, the reason why we did the London Design Festival books, whatever, is because designers have thought that we also think by doing, and when you don't have the ability to do or make books, even zine, right? You kind of lose the ability to think, and reading as well. As you read and write, you actually also thinking and try to solve problems at the same time. So I think people want to go back to this tactile, touching things with their hand and making things with their hand again, writing and making a zine. So.
How interesting. I would love to add, as a result of this mention that you've just had, a little bit more of a screenshot of what you're just discussing so that our listeners and viewers can actually see the examples of these smaller books, DIY books, because, Ray Bradbury has written his famous book, right? About the Fahrenheit degrees out there, saying that at some point books will become obsolete and no one at all will want to actually hold a book in their hands and read it, right? Which is a dystopian future he's been describing. Hopefully, we'll never reach that stage. But from the perspective of just observing that the book as a tactile experience is not disappearing. If anything,
No.
that what if there might be a future where it will be enhanced as opposed to disappearing it? Maybe there will be some other features inserted in it to make the experience even further more, real, so that you can get yourself immersed in the world that you're reading about. Would be quite interesting, I would have thought.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, and yeah, so like suppose like what we actually discussing like how do we find space to actually read in this so like a noisy social media age, right? How do we find the time to read? How do we find the time? Well, this is it. We have to accept that it's a noisy world at the moment, and once we get to the acceptance, then we look at how we live and we look at how we divide our time. And we must remember that Salina said, telling me this all the time, that reading books now have to compete with other labor, such as scrolling and then
Netflix,
Netflix, competition to reading,
exercising, and all sorts of things. So we have to accept that reading now is going to compete with all these other activities in our lifestyle. And that brings us to another thought. Why not create a space for it? Maybe we need a space in our life, but at the same time, the authorities, the government, schools need to, put extra effort to create a third space for people to have this space, to have this quiet environment, or to have this, bookstores, facilities, and easy for us to get to, so we can access reading and reading activities much easier.
How interesting. Can't resonate more, ladies. It's the type of the environment, the type of timing that we need to set on aside, isn't it? Just to make sure that we can make use of it and make use of it for our own therapy space, if anything, because book reading can be taken very much as a therapy. To which I thought, look, given the fact that we're now being listened, we're now being watched, why not ask our audience as well? What is the type of book that they're currently reading? If there are any particular books that are catching their attention, something that have lured them into their worlds, and they're very interested to find out what's coming next in that book, then it could be the case of them sharing in the comments if there's any particular book that has drawn their attention. Would be great to then have this conversation, be it now during the live version of our discussion, or maybe later following the upload of the episode, so that they can then share their opinions and we can then figure out what type of books people are reading today, right? Because it would be really interesting to get a little bit of a flavor. Now, I know that the second part of our discussion, we agreed that we would have a little bit more of an understanding and let our viewers and listeners know that we will be discussing traits as part of our future connections in terms of characters of the lead players in a given book, so that we can then describe why do we love, for instance, courage, bravery, or even those ones that are deceptive. What do we love about them, because they're also very important characters in a given book. So what do you feel about that? Are you excited about approaching any given traits in a book?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. When you suggested that, I thought that, I think it's such a brilliant idea. This is one of the advantages of reading books. We actually, we embark on a journey with the author, with the characters. And from these characters, we are allowed to look at their, these positive characters, even negative ones. And the positive ones such as, courage and curiosity, kindness, and without judgment. It's not easy to do this if we try to follow somebody on social media. We become very judgmental. I find when we scroll on social media, this person, but when we open the book and walk in the shoes of the protagonist or antagonist, we kind of like have more empathy for the human characters. So this is something that books could offer to us, and I think it's an excellent idea is to open the book each week or each episode, and then discuss which characters that we can be inspired from the story that we read, and what type of book.
Exactly. And what type of book? So I can't wait for us to on board on that journey that we're going to start developing in the forthcoming lives of ours in the book club environment, because we'll have a chance to discuss, as you've rightly mentioned, Zarina, various traits, courage, kindness, deceptiveness, what that might be, but they could be all very interesting. For one, just right now next to me, I've got this book that is not necessarily a novel or anything, but I totally love it because it has this sense of curiosity. And I know that today one of the topic was curiosity and what books are driving that. So for me, is I'm not sure if it's going to be seen, but it's this book over here. It's called. Yeah, what great paintings say, effectively. And for me, why I love this book is particularly some of the key faces that you can see painted from the period of medieval age, Renaissance, or whatever that might be, is they all have a story to tell. For instance, this part here, it's showing us an image of chevaliers in a very
beautiful.
Isn't it? So you're kind of digging into the story behind what was happening when the painter was writing, painting, creating its artwork. And was it any particular fictional story, or even this one, which is at the very cover of the book? It's basically showing us a lady. Oh, she's very lucky. She's part of a bigger painting, and the painting is created by Georges de la Tinoir, and it's been painted in 1599 as it stands, back in Holland at the time, say the Netherlands of those days. And it's fascinating because it basically depicts a lady who was part of a bigger conversation between her and some gypsies who were trying to deceive a young man who was a scholar, who potentially would have just walked out of his setting, of his educational setting, and they've just caught him up at the right time, trying to tell him all sorts of stories in the hope of burglaring him later on. So they're basically thieves. So this lady is as well joined thieves, apparently. But she looks, if you take a look at her gaze alone, see, she's very suspicious in terms of, is it the right time?
She has a side eye. Yeah,
exactly. So things like that, books like that spur our curiosity, our nurture for a little bit more of a drive that we don't necessarily experience in the day-to-day, but we really want to be part of, isn't it? Because it does takes us out of the daily realm.
Yeah, it does actually. For me, one of the books that inspired me so much, and when I read this book, I felt that I walked the shoes of the protagonist. Like he's a very curious person. And this book is called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, and it's a well-known book. It's very easy to read, and it's translated to hundreds of languages. But the way it's told, I don't have to leave my bedroom to actually go through the Sahara and Andalusia to Egypt, because I can just walk with Santiago the shepherd, and then he took this trip. He took the trip with me behind him, and I just thought that, oh my God, this book opened a whole new world that I would have never ever entered. And I find that this is one of the books that that is good to read as a starter for adventure and discovery.
Absolutely. I so like it that you brought up the notion of this book, because it's got elements of mysticism in it as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's full of mystery, per se. Hence why when you look in the world, that's exciting. And I think that the more of this sort of worlds that we're being part of, the more we learn how to resist the real world as well, but how to also be part of, not just resist, right? So it's the case of eradicating the fear and being a little bit more open to the feeling of love, to the feeling of appreciation and gratitude. So
Yeah.
that's what
Yeah.
books are excellent at teaching us for, isn't it? The empathy you just mentioned. Because Elif Shafak, in the prior interview that we've had, she did mention that her worry that we live in the age of 3 A's, anger, anxiety, and AI. And the next element that is not part of the 3 A's that she feels is more concerning, in fact, is the fact that we live in the age of apathy. And you rightly mentioned, Selena, here, that books are teaching us the empathy, right? So
Yes.
to resist the apathy stream, reading a book,
Yeah.
trying to get ourselves out there and experience something else is definitely the route to the therapy, the self-experience, and self-build as well.
Yeah. I mean, indifference is really dangerous. Indifference is, I think, one of the most dangerous things we are facing nowadays. And when we read a book, we are safe. We're safe because it's so private. We open it, no one else know what we're reading. We can cover the books if we want,
And it's all in your mind, whatever goes there. I don't know.
it's all in
don't
our
know.
mind, and then we go into this journey and we got to feel things that we normally don't have the opportunity to feel in real life. But in a book, we can have these feelings or this experience or what have you, and when you close it, nobody knows, nobody has to know. It's not out there, and you don't have to be judged, and we're not judging anyone. We're just walking the journey with the story.
You know, the process of being mindful as opposed to being conscious. On social media, you're conscious. Everything's performative. People judge you, you judge people. And privacy, as you know, it's a premium, right? It's a premium in social media world. So
100%. I love it how we talk about very serious stuff, but we talk it with our smiles on, because what else if not just to welcome life in a positive mood or manner, isn't it? Just whatever it throws in is just trying to be as positive, as open, and just intuitive as well along the lines to just avoid the negatives when they come along. So yeah, on this note, I mean, I know that we're approaching closely to the end of the first live, and I suppose it's been wonderful, right? Just to discuss, see how it goes, and then continue the flow, because we've got tons of characters, tons of traits to discuss, and books to also represent and put forward for the types of traits. So there's a lot that's going to be coming up, and hence we're inviting our audience to stay with us, to share what types of books they're reading and why, be it in the comments now or later, would be more grateful. And yeah, who would like to announce the next episode? Because I know that you guys have prepared.
Verena.
The next episode, in the next episode, what are we going to do? We are going to discuss, what is it, Selena? Can you please have a look?
I'm gonna scroll. Scroll. Yeah. Preparing our minds for reading.
Yes. Preparing our mind for reading.
Mindful reading, exactly. Yep.
Do we need to empty our mind for reading? Maybe not. Maybe not. I think there are ways that we can prepare our mind so we can focus and do this joyful activity called reading.
Exactly. So looking forward to that next experience. Thank you so much for your time today, ladies. And hopefully on the next interaction, we'll prepare the books that we love, that we feel that would suit the theme of, of that topic, because the theme of that topic is going to be quite intense. Not like today has been an entry point, but as we go along, there will be representative books of the traits that we want to put out there. So it would be interesting to just, tune in and to see how we take it from there. Very grateful for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for sharing that lovely book.
And thank you for joining us by the swimming pool.
Woo, very nice. I love that. In fact, I was wondering what did you have there in the background, because my background for some reason can't be seen, but yours is amazing.
It's a swimming pool. So hopefully one day you can do out your broadcast from here too.
I'd love that. I'd absolutely love that. What a relaxing environment to be tuning in from. Well done.
a perfect place to read a book. Swimming.
Yeah, a perfect place to read a book, and a very therapy-related one, I would have thought as well. Excellent, ladies. Well, thank you so much. We've done it. Yoo-hoo. So with that in mind, wishing everyone a lovely afternoon as we go along, and we'll tune in next time.
Yes, tuning in, and please follow Nadia and follow
Thank you all.
our website. Thank you. Bye.
Absolutely. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.